Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gifts, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh, look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee. You sure? It's cultist coffee. What makes it cultist coffee? I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it. Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Hey, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the office. It is so good to see you. Welcome to the morning grind. I hope everybody has been having a good weekend. Yesterday, I got away from the house. Went to have lunch with my aunt, and then went to see my nephew play soccer. And we had ice cream afterwards. And then I went and hung out with my brother and sister-in-law. So yesterday was a good day. Hope that everybody else had a good day. Today we're going to be taking a look at Knave. I was trying to see different places we could post. I did just post, so it's a few minutes late. I was trying to post to the Kickstarter campaign, which I did post to. And I was trying to see if there was a Discord server that I could post to. But it seems like the Questing Beast Discord server is private. But if anybody has access to that, and available only through like Patreon. But if anybody has access to that, then please do post and let people know what we are doing over here. Good morning, Zero the Blade. Mike Hansford, Joseph Carter are here. Welcome. We got Trey and Jay and Draco. Lots of people here this morning. What a great crew. Stray is here. Good morning, Stray. And James as well. Brett, welcome, Brett. Good morning, everybody. All right, man. So everybody very interested in this one, it seems like. I see that I wonder if Mike it says the connection's a little bit shaky. I'll see if that's something on my end. I don't think it's on my end though. But if it doesn't, I'll change something up here in just a moment. If I don't know what I've got to change, but I'll look further if it doesn't clear out here in just a moment. Hey, White Rabbit. Good morning, everybody. So let's see here. Where do we start? Well, I tell you what, I will put out the link to the Ravenkeep Discord server in case you're here and like to join the Ravenkeep Discord server. And then also we can start. Let me put up some screen sharing here. I was working a little bit yesterday. Like I said, I went out to see some family yesterday, but I was working on the Goodnight Sword Kickstarter page. The page is pretty much up, and I've got most of the other graphics finished, although they are not all installed into the page yet. So we are getting ready. Yeah, screen quality is a bit fuzzy here. Yeah, see, it tells me that its connection is a bit unstable. Let me try one thing, because I don't have anything like oh, wait. Let me give it a couple of minutes now, and let me see. Maybe something was syncing on my end. So give me a couple of seconds. Maybe it'll clear up. All right. So I was working on the Goodnight Sword graphics. Goodnight Sword is my children's book that is coming to Kickstarter. So I have got that just about ready to go. I will put the link to the Goodnight Sword Kickstarter in the comments. And if you were interested, I'd really like for you to click that button, because that's just going to the Kickstarter campaign is not live yet. That's just going to the preview page. So if you click that and then hit notify me, that would be huge. So Goodnight Sword is my version of Goodnight Moon. And if you are interested in table talk, oh, here we got the names. Here's Goodnight Sword. So if you're interested in, if you have children, whether it's a child of your own or a niece or nephew or a younger cousin or a friend's cousin, and you would like that person to be interested in fantasy and the medieval genre, well, who wouldn't want that kid to be reading Goodnight Sword? So we're going to be doing this Kickstarter, and the only way to get a hardback copy of the book is going to be through Kickstarter. So I'm going to try to keep this Kickstarter really fast, really low drama. I'm thinking about only only 14 days. So I'm going to keep this simple. I'm going to keep this low drama, and I'm going to keep this fast. So I'll put out the preview link to the Discord server when I get all of the rest of the graphics loaded in. Hopefully today. I didn't get to finish it yesterday because I was off with family. But hopefully today I'll be able to finish it. It's going to be very direct. It's going to be straightforward. We've got the animated audiobook. The animated audiobook is on the Tales of Rapidvania YouTube channel. So if you want to know what it's like, we do have an animated audiobook of it. But we're just going to have 3 pledge levels. Get the Goodnight Sword ebook. So get it as an ebook. Get it as the ebook and the hardback book, which I'm only shipping to the United States and the United Kingdom, because these are going to be printed through the drive-through fiction system, and they can print and ship directly. They can print it and then ship directly to people in the United Kingdom and the United States. So that's another way that I'm keeping this simple. If you are outside of that, I'm sorry, but I'm not doing an offset print run. I'm not trying to warehouse anything. I'm not trying to, do like a print run of 5,000 of these or anything like that. I'm not trying to deal with warehousing or international shipping or shipping to, international fulfillment centers. I have done all of that for other projects, and I'm just trying to keep this simple right here. And then I am going to have, Mike says, put me down for a signed copy. But what I am going to do for the United States, you have to be in the United States for this one. I'm going to order a small number of them. And I think 100 is probably plenty, but I'm going to have a signed one down here for 100. And then what I'll do is order some of them to come here to my house, and then I'm going to sign them. I might put some type of something in it to number them or something like that. I haven't thought about that completely through, but nonetheless, it'll be signed. Something in it will be kind of unique and special, and then I will ship those, have all the stuff here to ship those back out from my house. I'm not going to do a tremendous number of those, because it'd be so easy to just have the books printed and then sent right to everybody's houses. But a small number, if you're interested. I think some of the fiction books, if you'd like them signed and a little bit specialized, then that will be available. So I've clipped out. You may have noticed that if you want to see the book actually gone through right here, we did that on the morning grind one morning, and I clipped out that section and said the physical proof copy. So I've got to put a few other things in here. And the last major thing that I have to do is I want to go on to Drive-Thru RPG and put in some potential shipping, or Drive-Thru Fiction, put in some potential shipping addresses so I have the shipping amount. I'm not going pledge manager. I'm not going to go anything. I'm not going to do late pledges or anything like that. Ideally, I would like to be able to do more of these smaller Kickstarters. I used to do just nothing but gigantic Kickstarters, and they are so much work. But now we're trying to build here with these different worlds. So I want to start off with Rabavania. So this is small. I would love to be able to put in some of the like plush toys into production, but those require that each one of those plush toys requires a minimum run of 2,000. So it's a much bigger deal. So I want to start smaller with the print on demand stuff, and then we're just going to build and we're going to grow, or at least that's the plan anyway. So I'm going to get, so all that to say, I'm going to get the shipping costs, and I'm going to have shipping here on the Kickstarter. So you'll have to pay shipping now, but the goal is I don't want this to take forever. Like I said, a short Kickstarter, it's either going to start this week or maybe next week. Maybe I need 1 week to do some advertising. I don't know. I'm going to think about that. But then we're going to do it for like 2 weeks. And then Kickstarter will send over the money in 2 weeks. And then I will order all of the books, and then everybody will have them. So I don't want this to be something where people are waiting for months or years or a year and a half or something like that for their books. The purpose here with these is to be fast turnaround. And that's another reason that I'm not going to a pledge manager. Because if you go to like a pledge manager, that's why I was trying to keep all the pledges very simple. So that when you pledge, I know exactly what you want. I don't have to go to some others. I think I'm still going to have to send out the survey to get a shipping address. So there'll be the Kickstarter surveys. It sure would be nice if we just let you put all of that in there as soon as you pledge, but it doesn't. So there'll be Kickstarter surveys, but then we'll get that, and then we will send all of this out, and then we'll do something else, and then we'll go and do another project. And so the idea here is fast iteration and not something that is going to hang on with us. So you'll be able to pledge, and then we'll wrap up, get the book. So maybe, like I said, maybe like from starting advertising all the way through the campaign, I'd like to be a loop of about 10 weeks. So that's like 6 weeks after the campaign. So that's what's going on over here. So that is where I am with Goodnight Sword. We are just about ready. That's what's going on with me. Is there anything else over here? Okay. So then today, though, we're going to be taking a look at Knave. And of course, Knave is absolutely kicking it in a major way over here on Kickstarter as well. So Knave has 7,000 backers. So you're probably already backing this and probably have already looked at this. The preview, but 7,000 backers have already come out to pledge $435,000 for Knave. So that's crushing it. So I posted that we were doing this over here on the Knave platform, on the Kickstarter platform, and it's got a very nice page. But what I did notice is that he has a preview of Knave out here that is on Drive-Thru RPG, and so I downloaded that, and that's what we're going to take a look at today. I liked the original Knave. We went over there's lots of different people. Okay, those are all Knave second edition previews. I went through, I guess it was Professor Dungeon Master had second edition Knave, and he like a preview copy or something like that, and he went over in about 8 minutes. So, and which was nice. I enjoyed watching it. So there are different things on second edition Knave. So anyway, I'm going to take this down and let's go ahead and get to this. Is anybody backing? Do we have people in here who are backing it? People seem to really like it. Yeah, Zero Theory says people seem to really like it. And I did like it. I did like it as well when we went through. Now I had some issues with it. There came up with some issues that I had specifically around like equipment and inventory. So we did have some critiques, or I had some critiques when we went through it. Joseph Carter backed it. So Joseph Carter is on it. But I really like its idea. And so maybe he cleaned up everything that, I mean, it was just some adjustments that I think I would have done. Especially when I built out that character builder. You know, I did a Python character builder for it because I wanted to experiment with that and using using Python, using Chat GPT to create a character generator. So I created the character generator as well. And especially after I created the character generator, I realized that especially how limited your inventory is. And I thought there was information missing, like if you have a horse, how many slots can it take care of and things like that. And some people were saying, well, this is old school. Just make a ruling on that. But I still think some of that information should have been put into the game. So here is Knave second edition, the Kickstarter preview. Joseph Carter's all in for premium cover and all the other stuff, maze rats. I didn't know what all of the other stuff was. I mean, it all looked pretty cool. I backed it as well, but just for the rule book. All right, let's take our sip. Everybody got your drink ready? Got your drink here? Hey, Patrick. Hey, hello to all. Hello to you as well. So let's take your drink here. Everybody got your drink ready? Let's do 2 deep breaths, deep inhales, complete exhales, and then we will take a sip of our favorite beverage. So here we go. And sip. Ah, very good. Very good. All right, so Knave second edition, and you can download this as well. This isn't like any type of special preview or something like that that I have. This is exactly what is available for everybody to download through Drive-Thru RPG. So let's see. The full version of the game is 90 plus pages. 90 plus pages. So the first Knave was like 7 pages, right? And it did get me curious about, okay, well, now what could I say in 7 pages? Oh, by the way, just another quick aside before we get into this. I did download GURPS Realm Management. And like I said, the name sounds like it's not a real thing. It sounds like it's a joke about GURPS. But actually, it is real. I went and I downloaded Realm Management. And it does seem like it covers domain play. There's a lot there. So we might have to go over it in kind of a brief overview. But as far as domain play, because we were looking at the rules encyclopedia and we were looking at domain play in Dungeons and Dragons as something that has sort of left the game. Well, the mass combat book and the realm management book in GURPS is what puts that back in. So realm management, that's the book that does that. So very interesting about running domains and realms. A lot there. We may have to look at it. Okay, so we're moving away from the 7-page Knave to the full version, 90 plus pages of plans to include 75 plus random tables D100 for generating any feature of a fantasy world, including NPCs, religions, dungeons, monsters, spells, cities, and items. And we have definitely seen that as something that a lot of some of these old school type RPGs have lately. But even, I don't think Mork Borg and things like Vast Grim are the old school RPGs. But they also are in that vein where you've got a lot of tables for rolling on things. So we're going to have a lot of tables here in Knave. Easy to use procedures for dungeon crawling and wilderness travel that make resources matter. I'm very interested in knowing about that. Okay, because I'm big on making resources matter. Time, I think we need more emphasis on time in general in RPGs than something like 5th edition provides. Resources are important. I've long said that for different types of play, like how many different resources can a player really keep track of? Because I've been kind of shifting a bit in my own thinking to more of the gaming side, the gamist side. We talk about the gamist side, the narrative side, and the simulationist side of play. And so lately I've kind of been drifting to the gaming side of things. I'm like, how many different types of resources do you really want the players to be keeping up with? And if you ask the players to keep up with it, then it really should matter, I think. So I'm interested to know about this. And I think that something like 3 to maximum of 5 for any particular type of, any particular scene is probably the maximum number of resources you should be keeping track with. I haven't play tested that or don't have a scientific way for that, but hey, everybody, let's keep up with 18 different resources your character has. Now let's boil that down to maybe 3 to 5 that really matter. So I'm interested. Principles to DMs, to guide DMs and players. Okay. A list of 100 level-less spells focused on manipulating the world rather than damage. And that was part of the Knave second edition, Knave first edition as well. There was, even in that 7 pages, I mean, the rules were far less than that. Because even in that 7 pages, we had 100 level-less spells focused on manipulating the world, or 100 level-less spells. Dozens of illustrations by legendary OSR artist Peter Mullen. Rules for constructing your own buildings, resolving mass battles. Oh, we got mass battles here. Carousing, recruiting followers, gambling, training, and much more. So maybe there's some part of, excuse me. So some element of domain in here when we get to the 90-page one. Carousing, recruiting followers, gambling, training, and much more. Designer's commentary explaining the rationale behind the rules. And I did like that. I did like that. Okay, Joseph Carter says, Waking of Willoughby Hall is an adventure as a zine for Knave 2nd E. Maze Rats is a kind of 2d6 precursor to Knave and Summer's End. Don't know yet. Baron de Rope showed a recent video how he prepared a wilderness one-shot in less than 15 minutes using Maze Rats tables. Oh, interesting. Low prep for the GM. I'm also in favor of that. All right, so what are we doing here? What's the same and what is different? PCs have 6 ability scores, each with scores rated from 0 to 10. These scores are often added to checks. A PC's highest ability score helps determine the kind of character they are. We have strength, the fighter ability, and we talked about this, trying to make dexterity less the universal stat. We talked about that yesterday when we were looking at the Kobold Press stuff. So strength is the fighter ability added to melee attacks and checks requiring power like climbing and lifting. Dexterity, the thief ability, added to checks requiring agility and reflexes like dodging, sneaking, picking locks, sleight of hand, etc. Constitution Con, the adventurer ability, important for every PC, added to checks to resist poison, intoxication, cold, etc. PCs have 10 plus con item slots and can take 10 plus con wounds before dying. So this one does do a lot. It's Constitution, not strength, that governs how much stuff that you can carry. And if you've been following, I'm a big fan of item slots for inventory and encumbrance. So that's what this uses. Your number of item slots are based on Constitution, not strength. So that's not, and I think the way that makes sense is that it's not, hey, how much can you possibly lift? Because lifting is covered over here. But if you're carrying it over the long haul, I think that's why it's Constitution over here. Is you've got to do this. You got to travel with these things. You've got to, it's more than just being, hey, can you do a power lift of it? This is how much stuff you can use in the long haul. As well as con is 10 plus con wounds before dying. That's a change, isn't it? Because you had to roll for hit points in Knave first edition, right? And I believe it was all D8 hit points. So in this case, we are increasing it to 10 plus con wounds. We'll have to see how hit points are. I'm not a huge fan of inflationary hit points. It seems like in different games there have been some desire to mitigate inflationary hit points. Even if you are rolling for more hit points every round, there are different systems like in Morkborg or Vast Grim that allow you to continue to increase hit points, but only to a certain level, which is probably better from game design. But I'm for something like this. So actually, I think this is a good way to go. Because everybody, okay, a standard human has got something like, this is con plus 10, because all of this is going to be a bonus. So 10 plus con, whatever. Wounds before dying. That does allow you to calibrate stuff really easily. That's what I found. Because I come from like the GURPS background, where you're not rolling for hit points. Your hit points are determined by your stats, and they aren't going to be inflating as you go. We don't have an inflationary hit point situation, which allows us to calibrate damage really well. 4 is intelligence. The magic user ability adds to checks requiring cunning like crafting, lock picking, potion making, etc. PCs can cast int spells per day. Wisdom is the ranger ability added to range attacks and wilderness checks like foraging and navigating. We didn't have a lot about overland travel in Knave 1, so that's probably been added here. But wisdom, we talked about that yesterday as well. We removed ranged attacks from dexterity, because dexterity is already doing a lot. So ranged attacks moved down to wisdom. And then charisma is the cleric ability added to social initiative and divine intervention checks. PCs can have maximum number of charisma NPC companions. Good morning, Sarah. How do Cartaxo. I'll say Cartaxo. Hey, Cartaxo. Good morning. Zero Theory says, that's a nice twist. I can dig using con as item slots. Oh, and Cartaxo says the maximum HP is 20. All right, that works well. Well, I guess that's mean that I guess that's right here, because you can have an ability ranging from 0 to 10. So you could have 10 to 20 hit points. James says, not a fan of adding hit dice every level. It doesn't matter how experienced you are. You sever a major artery and you're dead. Major weapons are frequently referred to as equalizers for this very reason. Many weapons. So record ability scores. The total of the new ability scores must equal 3. The total of a new PC's ability scores must equal 3. Players can determine their starting scores themselves, or let fate decide by rolling 3d6. Each die adds 1 to the ability score matching the number it rolled. Each die adds 1 to the ability score matching the number it rolled. See, in Knave, you always rolled. It was fast. Character generation was fast. They were first edition. 3d6. Now, it was a different kind of system because it was 3d6. It was 3d6, and the lowest die determined your bonus, because there wasn't the score and then the bonus. There was just 3d6. The lowest one was your bonus, so your bonus could be 1 to 6, right? And I had never seen that done before. So each die adds 1 to. So, for example, rolling 3-5-5 means con. The third ability has a score of 1, and wisdom. The fifth ability has a score of 2. So what is that? Each die adds 1 to the ability score matching the number it rolled. So if I roll 3-5-5, it means con, the third ability, has a score of 1, and wisdom, the fifth ability, has a score of 2. Does anybody get that? Is that because I only rolled 1 3, and so my constitution is 3? No, excuse me, my constitution is 1 because I only rolled 1 3, and is my wisdom 2 because I rolled 2 5s? What do you re-roll then? I'm not getting that. It says the total of the PC's ability scores must equal 3. Now, how could you enforce that if you're rolling? So what does that mean? Does that mean that I could choose? Well, no, it says it was rated from 0 to 10, so I can't have negative. I was thinking, so I could go up to 6 on strength, but I'd have to go to -2 on dexterity and something like that. I'm not understanding. So all abilities are numbered. Add 10 and you'll get 13 and 15. So if I roll 6-6-6, I'll have a 3 in charisma. Okay, but what if I roll 6-6-6 and then I roll 6-6-5? Jack Wolf says the 3 dice each represent a single point. The number you roll on the die corresponds to the stat. Well, sure. But okay, wait a minute. Where is let's get out some dice here. It's been a while since, well, we used dinner and a board game auxiliary camera. Got some dice here. Zero Theory says, I'm only rolling it once. Okay, so I'm not rolling. I'm just rolling it once. Yeah, okay. So that's okay. Okay. All right. Okay. I guess I get it then. So that's why the total of a new PC's ability scores must equal 3. Players can determine their starting scores themselves or let fate decide by rolling 3d6. Okay, so I guess I do get it. Each die adds 1 to the ability matching the number that it was rolled. And so that's just it. Yeah, admittedly, I didn't quite get this. Because the way that I am, let me turn on the light over here. And then what happened to auxiliary camera? Oh, I took down the wrong thing. Oh, God. Auxiliary camera is not working. Oh, well. Okay, so if I were rolling then, I'm just rolling 3. Okay, so I could go from 0 to 10, but that's not how I'm going to start off. So I'm just taking 3 dice and I'm rolling them. Well, I rolled a 3, 3, 5. So, okay, so if you rolled all different numbers, why is my auxiliary camera not working? Camera. Let me try unplugging it. Plugging it back in. Oh, okay. That may have got it. I don't like it when my equipment doesn't work. Extra camera. Auxiliary camera. Okay, go auxiliary camera. All right. So if I'm looking at the auxiliary camera here. All right. Get the wire out of the way. So I'm just rolling 1. So I can have up to a 10. I'm 0 to 10 in each one. But my scores are going to be low. Because if I roll all 3 different numbers, I keep rolling two different numbers the same. So a 4, 2, 4, 2, 2. So that character then has a 2 in dexterity and a 1 in intelligence. So 1 in intelligence. So I don't have that. Most everything's going to be about 0. So there's only 6 stats. So at most, you're going to have a +1 in all 3. So if you roll 3 different numbers, which just seems to be impossible for me at the moment, that would be 2 in Constitution and 1 in intelligence. There we go. So I guess that's the way to be the major fighter guy, because now I'm a +3 in strength. How many times can I not roll 3 different numbers? That would be that gives the cleric guy, that'd be strength and dex. There we go. So that would be +1 charisma, +1 wisdom, and +1 constitution. Okay. See, I think I would say over here, let's see. I think I would say over here, you have 3 points to distribute to your 6 scores, right? You can allocate them all to one single attribute, or you can divide them however, to any other way that you would want. Or you can generate your starting stats by rolling 3d6 a single time. Each number rolled indicates what stat shall be adjusted. The number of dice showing that roll indicates the number of points allocated to that stat, something like that. Yeah, so the total max modifier would be 3. So yes, a longer description there would be helpful. Thank you, we're here. So Trey says, I had to watch some videos where Professor DM or someone showed how to do it. I may need more coffee. Yeah, I was already drinking this morning, and I'm almost out here, so I may have to refill a drink here in a moment anyway. Joseph says it's simple idea, just different enough from how D&D, etc. works that it requires some care. Yeah, so that's still, so it's making of course we haven't really gotten into how the stats work, but we're making less capable. I kind of thought that, so the original way that Knave was, in this case, that would be a 1. I would just be rolling straight down, so I get a +1 to strength. It would be very difficult. That's a +2 to the next thing. So I'm just looking at the lowest die, and I thought that was interesting. But it is giving you more stuff in all of the different stats, and there's the potential to get like a 6. If you rolled all 3 6s, you would all of a sudden be a really cool character, and that you got a 6, and that'd be really special. Yeah, Zero Theory says, I think I'd have players just pick in this instance unless they are asked to do random. I kind of think so. We're only allocating 3 points. And I think this goes along with my general idea that let the players go ahead and play what they want to play, especially if it's fast, because we're only allocating 3 numbers. So if you want to play the fighter type, allocate the fighter kinds of things. If you want to play the cleric, allocate the fighter, the cleric kind of thing. Go ahead and do that. Yeah, rolling 3d6 once would be. Death in Space does d4 minus d4. Yeah, but how hard is it to roll 3 different numbers on a d6? Thank you for the stats. So actually, so that doesn't surprise me then that we're having that issue. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so record secondary stats. Right, we're not far into this. Record secondary stats. PCs start at level 1 with 0 XP. They have 10 plus con item slots and D6 starting and maximum hit points. Oh, well, now hold on. We got a situation here. I didn't understand. So this does say D10 plus con wounds before dying, but over here we've got D6 starting and maximum hit points. So we are rolling D6 hit points. So hit points and wounds are something different. So we've introduced something else into this game. I thought maybe he was just calling hit points wounds over here. So he's not. So we're not rolling D8 hit points anymore. We're rolling D6 hit points, and we're starting in maximum is D6. Okay, so be aware. We're gonna have to figure out what's going on there. Record careers. Pick or roll 2 careers from the list on the facing page. Should we be creating? I kind of feel like going through this and creating a character. I got the dice sitting here, and I got the auxiliary camera sitting here. So hey, let's just do it. We'll even roll randomly. We'll see what happens when you roll. So this is into the odd lineage here. So let's see here. Why can't I move that over? Okay, so I'm making a character here. So I've got, this is my Knave character. And let's see, I have got strength, dex, con, int, all of our classic scores, wisdom, and charisma. And I will let fate decide here. So I got 3d6, 6, 6, 2. So I am a +1 in dex, and I am a +2 then in charisma. All right. So wounds. Wounds are 10. And item slots are also 10. And I have 1d6 starting hit points. 5. So I got a good roll on that. 5 HP. HP 5. All right. Roll or pick 2 careers from the list on the facing page. You gain those careers items as well as the following that you can carry. 3d6 times 10 coins, 2 rations, 50 feet of rope, 2 torches, and any armor pieces, any weapon, and a quiver of 20 arrows. If the GM permits you to play a non-human character, they may grant you the special ability in place of one of your careers. For instance, elves have only to sleep once per watch, 1 watch per night. Okay, so let's see here. I've got careers and starting equipment. So let's roll for coins right now. I got coins. Now, see, that was something that I added to Knave. So actually, the equipment here that we've got, I'll bring the equipment over here that we've got. Oh, this is good. It goes by some of the recommended changes that I had, because I had my Knave characters rolling some additional coins here to give them some jingle in their pocket. It wasn't a lot, but they had their equipment, but you roll to have a little bit of extra coinage. So in this case, I just rolled 10. So I got a 10 on that. So coins. So that's 100 coins. 2 rations. You got rations in the beginning in Knave, but also I said, hey, all the adventurers, these are supposed to be Knave-like adventurers, so go ahead and give them rope. So actually he did that as well. So 50 feet of rope, just because, I've been saying that I don't want the players to be punished for things their characters should know. So like buying something like rope, rations, torches, that kind of stuff, the character should know all of that. So 50 feet of rope. So just go ahead and give it to them and speed up character creation. 50 feet of rope, 2 rations, 2 torches. I'm not really organizing this really well, but okay, 2 torches, any armor, any weapon, and a quiver of 20 arrows. So I do have 20 arrows. Knave had you roll for weapons. No, it had you select any weapon that you wanted, but roll for armor. So I'm going to be able to select any weapon and any piece of armor. But I need to go back up to the top. Roll or pick 2 careers from the following facing pages. So here we've got careers and starting equipment. So now you've got, because one of my critiques as well with the Knave is that you had you roll for some weird stuff like that you have with you. But remember that your items are very limited because of your slots. So yes, having some of this like random or arbitrary kinds of material can be fun, but is it supposed to come up in the game? And how does it even relate to your item slots? My guess is that a lot of these things, it seemed like the sponge from Knave 1. That probably shouldn't take up an item slot, but it never really said. And so this is a mix of a bunch of different stuff. So this is a D100 roll. So let me get out. I got D100. I got a percentile over here. Let's go. Here we go. Percentile roll. 60. So number 60, I am a minor. Okay, I wonder how that's going to influence a lot of things in the game, being that I'm underage. So I get a pickaxe, a lantern, and a pet canary. Pickaxe. Lantern. And a pet canary. Oh, like these dice? Oh, thank you. These are some of the ones that we made with Infinite Black. These are some of the... No, these are the remake of the Cthulhu, the brand of Cthulhu dice. You know, I used to run Infinite Black with David. So I've made a lot of dice. So this is the brand of Cthulhu Elder dice. And this is the a dice tray that I made based on David's art. So yeah, that's the Sea Green or something brand of Cthulhu set. Trey G says, this is the reason I like character sheets. I cannot tell if wounds are different, and the only sheet I found is fan-made on Drive-Thru RPG with no wounds listed on the sheet. Really? You know, actually, we typically are supposed to look at that. So there is no character sheet in here. There was only one thing that I downloaded. And so this is the only thing that came with the download. So no character sheet. Ordinarily, when we're looking at these games, one of the first things we do is look for a character sheet, to look at a character sheet to just see what's going on with it. Because Trey's exactly right. Distinguishing between HP and wounds would be exactly something that a character sheet would help us with. I forgot to look for that, but it's not here. Okay, let's roll one more time for my my second career is 54. So 54 is, oh, knight. So I am a minor knight. A minor knight, isn't that a page or a squire? So I get a lady's favor. Banner. And signet ring. Yeah, because if we had a character sheet, I would just print one out. I could use that. Zero Theory says, just a side idea. Why aren't those adventurers using lanterns instead of torches in OSR? Lighter, reusable, and can be shuttered, and just need to carry an extra oil instead of huge, heavy sticks. Don't know. Like, I thought that Knave was, it did have, like, plate armor and stuff, so it was kind of later period, apparently. Jack is backing it. Yes, I know. I'm a savant at knighting. That's apparently it. All right. Let's see. I'll bring. Okay. So I rolled there. Quiver 20 arrows. Okay, not finishing touches. Oh no. So okay. So where is our weapons? Because it says I get. It says any armor pieces plural. Any armor pieces plural. I'm just going to put over here armor. So when we find a table, I'll fill in armor. And then I will also fill in weapons when we find those tables. So, item slots and wounds. Slots. PCs have 10 plus con item slots to record their equipment. Most items, including groups of small items that could fit in one hand, take up one slot. Items that require two hands take 2 slots. 500 coins use a full slot. Yeah, now, okay. I remember when I was doing the character creator. I don't remember if we talked about if the original Knave talked about that or not. But I was like, I need some kind of slot to handle coinage, and that's why slots were filling up fast. 20 arrows in a quiver uses 1 slot. So most items, including groups of small items that could fit in one hand. So I guess my pickaxe is taking up 2 slots. My lantern is probably taking up 1 slot. I've got a pet canary that's probably taking up, I guess, 1 slot, maybe more. Lady's favor, signet ring. Those are probably together 1, and that's like in my miscellaneous 1 slot, because I don't think the ladies. Now I actually have seen a lady give a battle axe as a favor. But most of the time, let's say it's something like a handkerchief or something like that. A banner. Well, a banner sounds too, depending on exactly what we're talking about. I mean, a banner could be pretty big. That could be 2 slots. 20 arrows, that's 1 slot. Oh, did it tell me? What about my rations? See, has it told me about my rations yet? How many slots do my rations take up? Or do my slots not take up rations? Either way, it should tell me, I think. Because I had to come up with how many, like I've got 2 torches. I also have 2. I had said, I think that 2 rations take up 1 slot. That's how how I had done it in the first edition of Knave. Rope, I mean, 1 slot, 2 torches. How many slots does a torch take up? If it's 1, if rations take up 1, I am already carrying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, I'm already overburdened. I told you, you're at a very premium here in Knave. Joseph says, everyone today thinks for some reason that everyone in ye olde days used torches everywhere. On the other hand, it depends on what my lantern is actually like, its technology, tech level is, and because I mean, sometimes torches would be easier. Trey says, page 4-ish, direct damage. Direct damage bypasses HP and adds wounds directly. Lady's favor and ring probably takes no slot. Probably. So even if we go 0 there, then I'm still maxed out. See, we need more clarification on this. Arrows, we were told, so that's confirmed. That takes 1. It does not tell me how much my rations, my rope, and my torches take up. Pickaxe seems like 2, because we're just general. Lantern seems like 1. Pet canary, we're going to go 1. Lady's favor and signet ring, we're going to go asterisk on them for none. Banner, if that's 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 7 right there. And if 8, 9, 10, that's 10. I'm completely full. No room for hauling treasure back. Now, I've got 100 coins. So if I need 1 slot for that, you know, like I said, we're already almost full. And I don't like that I'm having to figure this out. I'd rather it just tell me how many slots these things are. Because we spent quite a bit of time trying to figure that out. There we go. What do you think? Has anybody else tried to go through here and make a character before? Damage. Damage a PC receives is subtracted from their HP. Once their HP reaches 0, each point of damage fills an item slot with an appropriate wound. Stabbed, frozen, burned, etc. from the highest slot to the lowest. Items in the wounded slot must be dropped or the PC will be immobilized. The GM may rule that an item in an injured slot has been damaged or destroyed as appropriate. Oh, so I'm not even supposed to be doing this. Like, I was using very abstract slots here on my sheet of paper, but is the actual character sheet going to have, I need to write specific items in particular slots, because as things are damaged, as I take additional damage, I'm going to have to know what is in a slot, because it says items in a wounded slot must be dropped or the PC will be immobilized. So I could choose not to drop something important, like I got to drop my sword or something. Does that include armor? Oh, gee, come to think of it, with our slots, I don't even have my sword or armor yet. Now, see, I do like slot-based games for inventory and encumbrance. That's how I would do it. To me, it's elegant. It's something people will track. It forces you to actually think about what's important. See, but my problem is that when we're combining things that are not necessarily important with the slot system, and man, we are running really low on slots. Like, do I really need a pet canary? Do I need a sword or my pet canary? So, okay, so I'm really overburdened here. This is going to be a problem. And I haven't found the armor table or the weapon table. But this makes it sound like here, okay, no, wait a minute, direct damage. So I'm taking, Yeah, James says banners are actually massive, and I think the only time you really need one to ID yourself on a battlefield. This seems unnecessary to take in the wilderness on a quest with you. Yeah, especially, I mean, the idea was like we're knaves, right? Going on like raiding dungeons and things like that. Because I think there is a strong argument that the banner would take up more slots than that. So yeah, hopefully we can leave some of this stuff at home, because you could certainly argue that, hey, carrying around a gigantic, massive banner, they do probably need more slots. Leave the canary at home. Yeah, Zero Theory. I mean, see, that's one of the fun things. It's kind of fun, but okay. But what's it going to do besides die to alert you of poison gas, which is what it's supposed to be? What it's supposed to do, right? If in the context of mining. Okay, so this is interesting that, okay, so damage a PC receives is subtracted from their HP, and I rolled 5 HP. Once their HP reaches 0, each point of damage fills an item slot with an appropriate wound, such as stabbed, frozen, burned, etc., from the highest slot to the lowest. Items in the wounded slot must be dropped or the PC will be immobilized. The GM may rule that an item in an injured slot is damaged or destroyed if appropriate. So I guess that's like destroying armor, because if it's in a slot and it's armor, your armor is damaged or destroyed. So direct damage, this is what Trey was saying, direct damage bypasses HP and adds wounds directly. This occurs in situations where a creature's combat skill would not protect them. When falling or attacked unawares, monsters receive triple damage from direct damage since they do not have item slots. Okay, so ordinarily we're going to be going from HP down to my wounds. No, excuse me. We're ordinarily going to be going from HP down to my item inventory slots. But in certain cases, so I guess this is a way to do it, like when falling. Like, how do you handle falling if you're rolling for more hit points? Because that's what everyone always brings up, falling, that the barbarian can go and leap off something really tall and be okay. Or sneak attacks or something like that. So you just have a separate number, which is your wounds, which are going to handle something like that. So I've got 10 of those. I have more of those than I do HP. I guess that makes sense because I've got basically my item slots are also like my HP. PCs die when all of their slots are filled with wounds. Creatures without slots, like monsters, simply die at 0 HP. So I'm going to be dropping all of my stuff all over the dungeon as I go. That's kind of like, didn't the original zombie side do that with wounds? The zombie side that I play, like Black Plague, has separate wounds for the characters, like 3 wounds. But I seem to remember, and I think I only played it once, the original zombie side. It was a very significant game that was played. The original zombie side, when you've got your dashboard there, your wounds are being taken, and you're having to, like, on your items, you have to drop like your axe or something like that. I think I remember something like that. So that's what that reminds me of. But then healing, PC's hit points return to maximum each morning as long as they slept for 2 watches and ate a meal the night before. If they are in a safe haven, they also heal 1 injury. So we have this word injury now that's come up. So what is an injury? Did they use the word injury up here? No, this says, this says that the damage slots are filled with an appropriate wound. Okay, and then direct damage goes to wounds. And if I'm in a haven, I can heal 1 injury. I think that's a bit confusing. Trey says, wait, does this mean wounds add more slots? Inventory slots and wound slots are mentioned differently and could have different values. Zero Theory says, yeah, I think I'm going to need some, I need something else. I don't know what I've got in there. I may just have to get water. I got to go to the grocery store. I don't feel like making another pot of coffee with everybody here. Let's see. So, yeah, it actually makes me kind of wonder, did he mean to say injuries up here with an appropriate injury under damage? So damage going into a slot, is a slot filled with an injury? Because then if you told me you healed 1 injury, then I would say, oh, so you're getting your slots back. Then I would get that. But we're using wounds in two different ways. We're using wounds as the adjective. Yeah, what you're talking about here is Zero Theory. But then direct damage also goes to wounds. So I think there is some confusing terminology here. At least I'm a bit confused. An injury uses, yeah, I think that's what is meant. So I think this word up here is supposed to be injury. Let's see. So, but going back to this, Zero Theory says, I'm kind of on the fence about the separation of HP and wounds. Not sure it's needed. It's a needed complexity. Okay, so if you're going to be doing inflationary hit points, which I'm not even sure this is doing. Now, the original Knave did, though. The original Knave did have you increasing your slots, your hit points with a D8 hit die when you're going up per round. So that was something that it did have you do. But if all you're worried about is falling and being attacked unawares, or generally situation where combat skills would not protect you, is there some other way to handle that rather than having another statistic on your sheet? Like, for instance, we talked about fall damage being cumulative, which I had not heard before, but we talked about that one morning where, okay, 10 feet might be, D6 damage. Okay. But then the next 10 feet is 2d6 damage, which means if you fall 20 feet, you're taking 3d6 because it was cumulative. So that could work. Like if we're trying to solve falling damage in a inflationary hit point system, something like that could work. Now, I do have the problem with inflationary hit point system about the hit point grind. Everybody's just going around the table grinding hit points off of each other, round and around and around for all that time. But some people like that, so that's not a problem to some people. But if you're trying to fix falling or like a rogue sneak attack or something like that, there might be some other way to handle it. Coffee mocha. Yeah, maybe I should go and get some coffee percolating here. We'll see. Okay. So leveling up. Experience points. PCs are awarded 1 experience point XP for each coin worth of treasure recovered from dungeons and returned to civilization, split evenly between all PCs who assisted. A dungeon can be any kind of remote, dangerous environment ripe for looting and exploring, such as castles, prisons, lairs, and tombs. If you are using a pre-made dungeon from other RPGs that use copper, silver, gold, and platinum coins, each worth 10 times the last, then count each gold coin as 1 coin. So XP is based on treasure. So that's kind of old school, right? XP just based on treasure. Right. Or injured. Hit points maybe for accounting when you're bruised and a little bloody, but not full on wounded. Or injured. Maybe. At certain XP thresholds, PCs gain a level. These scores, which adds 1 to 3 different ability scores. These scores can be picked by the player, chosen randomly, or a combination of both. Each level also allows the player to re-roll their PC's HP maximum using 1 additional D6. If the total rolled is not greater than their last maximum, add 1 to the last maximum. Okay. See, titles here, what's going on? Like, I rolled Knight and Minor, but I've got Wretch over here. This is the title thing. The Shadow Dark had that. HP max. So level 1, level 2, 2,000 gets us to level 2, and we re-roll 2d6. So if I roll 2d6 and it's not greater than 5, it is not greater than 5. So I would have 6 hit points because I would get to increase it by 1. And plus I would get +1 and 3 different ability scores. I guess since you're going up in ability scores like that, that's why you start low. Zero Theory says, right. And if you're going to punish the player for wounds, better to remove item slots than start subtracting from rolls. That just leads to an ugly downward spiral. But it does also mean you're leaving your gear all over the place. Like, if you got to run, okay, you drop your pet canary. You've been hit, you've taken up, and now you have to drop your pet canary. You can't go pick him back up. Like, I mean, what if you got to run from this dungeon, right? And then you're out of here, and we just had to leave your pet canary. So it seems like you're going to be leaving your gear all over the place. People are going to be hitting you. It's kind of like, well, you know, like Diablo when you kill a monster and the loot springs out. It's kind of like reverse of this. Somebody hits you, bam, and then the some item of yours flies off of you. Yeah, James says, I agree with you. I get where the rules are coming from, but I think it needs a touch of refinement. Then again, it's following the GURPS series pretty closely, which is detrimental. Oh, hey, PH Arbex. Hello to you down there in Brazil. Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, I guess that's why you should always carry the pet canary. So, like, once the pet canary, once you get injured and the pet canary gets ejected, you know you'd better run from the dungeon. That's what you're supposed to do with the pet canary. You leave the banner in the dungeon, you're going to have to go back for it. Yeah. Trey says, I guess it makes sense. If you're wounded, you may have to lower your weight in order to escape. I think I'll have to see it in play, though. Okay, so checks. When a creature attempts to do something risky, make a check by rolling d20 and adding one of their ability scores. Okay, so now instantly I also realize that this is potentially going to be swingy, right? And there was, okay, we're going to set target numbers. Because especially, like, we're only working with a maximum of +3 in the beginning. We're only working with a maximum of +3 in the beginning. With a lot of things probably having +1 or +2. And even as we gain in level, we're just gaining +1s. So we're probably going to, you know, if it hits your +3, okay, it'll be +4. But still, that's not a lot. We've looked at the math and spread behind the D20 in a lot of other videos on this channel before I was doing live streaming. So you look those up. Like, do we need the D20? What's its math? How can we change that? And all of that. So on the D20. So that tells me that this is going to be a very swingy, dicey game. Because we're going to make a check. Let's see. So we're going to make a check by rolling a d20 and then adding an ability score. If the total meets or exceeds the target number set by the GM, they succeed. If a creature doesn't have ability scores, the GM can use its level instead. If the creature seems like it would be bad at the action, use half of its level or 0 instead. Don't use checks to solve problems the player could solve with some creativity and critical thinking. Some actions may be impossible unless the PC has the proper tools or training. So in original Knave, I think the DC was just always 15. So it's like, don't roll. It was encouraging you not to roll. But if you do roll, hey, it's going to be a DC 15 check. And then it was saying that it was making checks more likely to be passed by higher level characters. But setting the starting number, start with 11 and then add a difficulty rating from 0 to 10, 5 by default. So that gets you to 16. If the check is against another creature, the difficulty rating is equal to their relevant ability score and level. In an attack, so if the check is directed against another creature, the difficulty rating is equal to their relevant ability score or level. Okay. If in an attack, the difficulty is on the target's armor points. The target number in this case is called armor class. So we return to armor class instead of defense class. Reversing checks. Checks in Knave are reversible, meaning that either side can be the one to roll. It's possible to play Knave with only the players rolling checks. Example, a goblin is trying to strike a PC, could add its level to the D20, trying to hit the PC's armor class, 11 plus the PC's armor points, or to reverse the roll, the PC could add their armor points to the D20, aiming for a target number of 11 plus the goblin's level. The odds of the goblin hitting are the same either way. So you can do GM facing or player facing. Zero Theory says, on the plus side, I feel like once you've got this, there's a near zero prep system of getting characters made and you're off adventuring, which is huge, and I'm for that. I'm for that. Because I don't want to spend more than 15 minutes making characters, especially if you're just going for a night of adventure. Got a question here. I was watching your discussions about Black Flag, Daggerfall, and Matt Corbell's system. Have you seen DC 20 from Dungeon Coach channel? I have not. I might have heard of it, but I have not investigated it. No. Lord Lawless. Hello, Lord Lawless. Says, in OSR, encumbrance is there to force choices about how much XP gold one can carry versus speed. The wounds taking slots is in a similar vein. Oh, that's a great point. Although the choice of avoiding combat and thus wounds is less direct, and I'm not sure it will work as well. That is a great point, Lord Lawless. So right here, we did say that our experience points are awarded for each coin worth of treasure recovered from the dungeon and returned to civilization. So you've got to worry about getting these coins out of here, and 500 coins use a full slot. So like I said, my slots are already packed over here. So if I'm a level 0 character, I'm going to need to use 4, and I find a 2,000 if I'm a level 1 character. And I'm on a solo adventure, I'm going to need to make sure that I have 4 slots to get treasure back. Like if I find a hoard of 2,000 gold, coins, whatever, I have got to, I've got to make sure that I've got 4 slots to get me back home. So that tells me the banner, the banner, the pet canary, the pickaxe might all be going in order to get coins back home. And I only have 2 rations. Did it say 2 rations? Did that say 2 days worth of rations? It just says 2 rations up here. I mean, how far away is the dungeon? Like, I got to get back as well. So if you're going 2 days away, I need to be holding 4 days worth of rations. Okay, we'll have to look at what at the DC 20 then. Okay, so but yes, that's an excellent point, Lord Lawless, that we got to be managing our slots in order to get stuff back home. So modifiers, a GM can apply +5 bonuses for each advantage and -5 penalty for each disadvantage the player rolling has on a check. For instance, advantages might include having a related career. Oh, that's something that the nose plays will like. Hey, I think I should be able to do this better because I'm a knight, or I am a miner, or whatever. So that makes those careers kind of like fate aspects. Hey, I think this would apply, so I get a +5. A clever approach, taking extra time, the right tools. So that adjusts the swinginess because +5 is a chunk. So if it's related to your career, is fighting related to the career of being a knight? Or if you're going to take a clever approach and extra time, that's a +10, right there. So maybe you're supposed to be stacking up those modifiers for those advantages. Social checks. In most cases, the outcome of a social check can be resolved with common sense and role playing, but in a risky situation, the GM may call for a check. These are made using the PC's charisma versus the NPC's wisdom or charisma, depending on the context. Modifiers may be applied based on the target's disposition and relationship to the PC, factional or moral alignment, PC's phrasing, bribes, threats, etc. We haven't seen anything about alignment right here. I think, didn't we use law, chaos, and neutrality in the original Knave. Lore checks. Checks are not necessary for a PC to recall lore. I like that. PCs automatically know all common knowledge and any specialized knowledge covered by their careers. Any other knowledge must be discovered in-game. I'm generally against knowledge checks. Pathfinder, everybody says, is integrating knowledge checks into combat and stuff like that, but I'm still not a huge fan of knowledge checks. Search checks. Hidden things are either automatically discovered after enough time is spent searching, or they cannot be found without taking in-game actions. Obvious features of an area should be discovered right away by PCs, and details should be described as players ask questions and investigate. See pages XX and XX for more information about searching dungeon rooms and wilderness hexes. We also talked about that like, yeah, you can roll a check, but then what if you miss something that's important? So you can't really put something important to the plot behind a check if you're searching for secret doors or something. Rations is per day. I mean, that's what I would have thought. Okay, so both Zero Theory and Joseph Carter are saying that. That's what I think. So that's 2 days worth of rations. That's how I calculated it last time. Trey says knowledge checks always seem like an excuse for players not to think things through, or for the game masters to just like look at the players asking them to do something. Like the wizard walks up to, an arcane circle. There's some kind of arcane circle on the floor, and just stares at the players. Okay, and so the wizard is supposed to say, "Okay, I would like to make an Arcana check." Or the game master's like, do you make an Arcana check? Like, if there's the wizard and it's the arcane circle, let the wizard know something about the arcane circle. Gate it in a different way rather than by rolling here, like by just standard skill levels or something. Like anybody who has a +5 and whatever will know the following information. It takes a +7 in the skill to know this other information. That's how you gate it, I think. So traveling, watches. While on a journey, days are divided into 6 4-hour watches, 3 for day, 3 for night. Most major actions, traveling, foraging, searching, etc., take 1 watch to complete. So 6 4-hour watches. The journey hazard die. At the end of each watch, roll the journey hazard die and apply the result. At the end of each watch, so you're rolling this 6 times a day. 2, fatigue. Each party member takes 1 damage unless they spend the next watch resting. Damage may be higher in severe weather or difficult terrain. Ignore while camping. So that's like hit point damage, I guess. Or is that wounds? Because this is not... this is confusing. Each party member takes 1 damage. So what's a damage? Does that mean they're taking hit points of damage? But I was specifically told up here that direct damage bypasses HP and adds to wounds directly. This occurs in situations where a creature's combat skills would not protect them. So I am guessing that if I'm rolling during traveling and you're taking fatigue, that means that your combat skill would not protect you. I think that needs to be more clear. But that would seem to imply to me that if I roll on that right there, that is going to wounds. D6 1, encounter. The party has an encounter, usually rolled from a table designed for the region or the terrain type. The GM determines the encounter's reaction, activity, distance from the party, and if they are surprised. This seems like the kind of situation where you would need encounters that were not all violent. But are they significant? I like the encounters to be significant. Because you're rolling 6 per day. Are you rolling 6 per day? Yeah, you're rolling this 6 per day. Fatigue, depletion. Roll D6 on each perishable item. Rations, monster parts, etc. On the roll of a 1, it has expired and must be thrown out. So this is in addition to consumption? Well, this is not good. Like my only perishable items, I guess, then are rations here. Arrows. I never did find the armor or weapon table, so I guess that I would have put that up with character creation because you're supposed to pick one of them. But I suppose, is my pet canary perishable? But I guess the rations are, man, that would really get length. I roll 1d6 for each perishable item. So I've got 2. So if I rolled, in the event that you roll a 3, and you're rolling that roll 6 times per day, I got 2 rations. And if I roll a 1 on either one of them has spoiled. Man, that would really set your entire adventure back. You have enough rations to get to the adventure site, but then you realize they're spoiling. Or does the parrot count as rations in a pinch? Yeah, does the canary count as rations in a pinch? So Zero Theory would have assumed HP. Yeah, we need some more. I think we just need more detail, or need some more clarification here. So whether the weather changes or some local effect begins, sign, the party finds a sign of the next encounter or a clue to a secret, or 6 is no encounter. So PCs can move 6 miles, move 1 6-mile hex per watch, up to 3 times per day. Each watch after the third deals 1 direct damage. Well, see, this says 1 explicitly, 1 direct damage. This one doesn't explicitly say 1 direct damage. See, but there's no guarantee when I'm reading this, I'm going to go up here and read this part. I am, because I'm reading through the whole rule book. But if you're spot checking or something like that, I wonder, see, I think we need this rule book needs more clarification. I think this rule book needs more clarification. Oh, my canary is spoiled. We cannot eat him. I suppose he's happy about that. As long as spoiled doesn't mean death. So each watch after the third, I guess that's each watch of travel after the third deals 1 direct damage to each PC unless they succeed a con check. A con check at what level? We need a DC here. Speed is halved when traveling darkness, though through difficult terrain or in severe weather. It's doubled when riding a mount. And I'd like some information on what difficulty level those con checks are, because they might be different depending on the type of terrain. Oh, can I swap this? James says, yeah, I'm not super excited about this as written. I'm kind of agreeing with you. Which is disappointing because, like I said, I did like the original Knave. I thought it needed to be cleaned up, but I understood what it was doing, and I liked it. It seemed like it would be good for fast adventuring. It needed some adjustments, but this seems like it is gone. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's a second edition, so the way we assign our scores and things like that has all changed. We're adding new things, so I don't know. Zero Theory says its main selling point is supposed to be all of the tables. We'll see what those look like soon, I suppose. Well, we could just do tables without doing the rules. Navigation. If the terrain or weather is disorienting, the GM may require a wisdom check rolled in secret to see if the party accidentally moves in a random direction. I need a DC. Exploring. The party can spend a watch exploring the area of a 6-mile wide hex to automatically reveal any areas of interest, such as overgrown ruins, a hidden pool, etc., that wouldn't be noticed by simply passing through. Now, I'm for the hex crawling like this. I think we need good rules for these. We need really good hex crawling rules. What system has the best rules for that? Because you're supposed to be managing other types of things. And see now see here, talking about the Holy Grail here, we should be able to run encounters. We should be able to dice through encounters. If you're hex crawling and there's something that happens, we can either drop down to the the role playing level proper, or we should be able to resolve what's happening up at the higher level and keep it going. James says, second edition should be edited a lot better. I don't say that to be mean. I was very excited for this game. I'm a little disappointed now. Hopefully this wasn't excerpted from the finished book. It seems like, yeah, I'm not sure. It seems like not. I mean, it seems like because they've got to add stuff in here. I mean, it seems like it's laid out sort of the way it's supposed to be. But like up here, like watches and the journey hazard die. You know, it seems very modern to just kind of just throw stuff like that at there. But like I would be expecting some type of introduction to traveling or something like that. But Shadow Dark did that. Just like traveling. Here's your table. Here's the way this goes. Right, you can keep the time moving fast, then drop to RP when you need it. PDM's video shows stuff is still being finished in places. Well, that's good. I wonder. Well, it still seems like the confusion regarding wounds and damage and stuff like that, and that seems like that would have been encountered before and needs to be cleared up. Or maybe I'm the first one who has actually had trouble with that. But it seems like there's been trouble with that in the comments as well. And still, also the how much just does your inventory slots take up? I don't want to have to adjudicate that. I know it's easy to write down hey, if it fits in one hand, it's going to be one. If it's this, if it's this, it's something else. But I really don't want to have to sit here and adjudicate that for myself or for all the players at the table. Like that's slowing down character creation. Just give me the important items, which may not be Pet Canary, and tell me what their slots are so that I can immediately start to manage that. Because it's also telling me that stuff like the resources are going to matter in the traveling. Well, okay, well, great. Well, all of my slots are full with a bunch of weird stuff. It seems like I need more rations. Do I need to be tracking water? I don't know. Or is that included in rations? It may be included with rations. That'd be fine. But there's more information I need there. So exploring. Okay, we said that. Secret features. Secret features such as buried treasure or hidden doors into the mountains should have corresponding clues revealed by exploring the hex. They can only be found by the PCs interacting with the game world. Foraging. See, that seems like it should also be like there's some type of font or something that's supposed to be there. Finding food takes a watch and requires a wisdom check with modifiers for weather, terrain, etc., but we need a DC. On a success. I mean, I think it's just telling you, okay, that we're supposed to figure this out by setting the starting number, by adding a difficulty rating 5 by default. So I guess in these cases, when it says add a DC, we're going to be rolling a 16 because we take 11 and a 5 by default. So I guess that's how I should be taking that. That navigation requires a DC 16 roll. Foraging requires a DC 16 wisdom check with modifiers for weather, terrain, etc. On a success, each PC collects 1d6 rations. Now look down here. 1 ration fills an item slot. See, why is it like when I needed that information when I was doing character creation? And yet just we're sliding down here. 1 ration fills an item slot. So I had said that 2 rations filled an item slot. So I was wrong over here. 2 rations fill 2 item slots. But like, don't bury information like this down here, because why would I be reading about foraging and secret features? Or I guess it's not under secret features. I guess this is supposed to be this level right here. So why would I be looking under foraging for how many slots my rations take up? Zero Theory says, I personally would add some personal touches to this overland travel section, but overall, I like the general idea of it. I like the general idea too, but it needs, let's see. An odd thought. If you get XP for coins, does that mean the Lich I killed only gives me XP if I bring back the body to sell its parts? I don't know. Yeah, this is not about killing monsters. It's about getting treasure, right? I wonder how it handles. Yeah, we got a special monster here, Lich or whatever, but we can harvest. So, all right. So I'm even in a worse situation with my slots and inventory than I thought. So weather. Okay, so here are some of the tables here. So changing the weather at the start of the game, and whenever you roll the weather result on the journey hazard die, roll the appropriate table below. Use common sense when deciding on how the weather affects the PCs. See the following suggestions. Rain. Everything gets soaked. Okay. Heavy rain reduces visibility, disorients, slows movement, drowns out sound, and creates mud. May cause flooding in landsides if it goes on for too long. Hail. Reduces visibility, disorients, slows movement, and drowns out sound. Lightning spooks animals and ignites things. Generally does not strike PCs. 3d6 damage unless they are asking for it. Wind carries sense and makes range attacks more difficult. Fog reduces. Okay, so temperature. Increase the hazard dice. Fatigue damage to unprepared PCs. Freezing weather may cause damage every watch. So rolling for weather. 3d6 in the spring, the summer, the fall, and the winter. At the start of the game, and whenever you roll the weather result on the journey hazard die, roll on the appropriate table. So in the winter, it's going to be cold. After watching the Rules Cyclopedia series, P.H. Arbeck says, I would always give you the benefit of the doubt that when you don't get something, it's the system's description's fault, LOL. Yeah, randomly see who gets hit by lightning. Wilderness regions. But how useful is that? Wilderness region. So this is supposed to be like what maybe the hex is supposed to be. Wilderness structures. Like, see that one, this one I could see it being a bit more useful, that if you're supposed to, like, okay, I need to find something that's in here, but like monastery, it's quite a big thing to be in there. Cistern, dam, shrine, signal tower, inn, highway. So are those useful? Wilderness traits. So what are you supposed to? Doesn't tell me how to roll on this, but okay. So we're going through a. Do I roll on trait first? $99. So we're moving through a writhing. Layer. A writhing layer. And the structure inside, if we're looking for it, is a 90, a trader camp. Like, so if one of the big selling points here is the are the tables, like, are those tables like really something that people need a lot? You find a right, exactly. You find a tar pit with a inn. Right, exactly. Or 100% chance to find a wooden bridge. So I don't know how useful those are. Like, they have to be we've looked at systems where things like the dungeon system with the what was it? Something about this dungeon cycles and things like that. So I think there must be some way to generate that well, but I'm not sure that's it. Okay. Encounters. Use the following rules when a PC comes. I don't think we need to move on this for a second day, and it's Sunday, so I got a little bit more time. So and we got tables and pictures here. So let's just keep going through this. Encounters. Use the following rules when the PCs come across a random encounter. Distance from the party. In confined environments with limited invisibility like dungeons, encounters appear 2d6 times 10 feet from the PCs when their initial distance is unclear. In the wilderness or other open spaces, they appear 4d6 times 30 feet away. Surprise. If an encounter occurs within 80 feet of the party, the closest PC should make a wisdom check against the closest encountered creature. If one side wins by 5 or more, they have surprised the other side. The surprising side will act first in combat and gains a +5 bonus on all combat checks during the first round. So a +5 bonus is a chunk. At least, so it does seem like he's trying to mitigate the swinginess of having low bonuses and rolling a d20 die with with having just your bonuses be chunky +5s. So you're supposed to be relying on those. Activity. The current activity of the encounter depends on the creature type, environment, etc. But the most important thing is to have them doing more than just waiting for the PCs to arrive. It should feel like they have a life outside of the adventure. Use the table to the right as inspiration to roll on it, ignoring results that don't make sense. So you find so you're still going to have to make up your encounter tables, which that used to be a big thing, the game master having to make up the encounter tables for any particular region. So having really good encounter tables pre-built, that would actually be pretty useful to me. So, but 95, we find some whatever tracking. What are the goblins doing, or the elk, or whatever? And or here they are in the middle of harvesting. That's what that doesn't make sense. You find some goblins out harvesting. Or you find some wolves out harvesting or something. Reaction. If the encounter's reaction to the party isn't obvious, the GM may roll 2d6 on the following table to determine their attitude. Note that PC's actions can cause this to change quickly. NPC reactions. All right. So divine magic. Oh yeah, so we hadn't really looked at spells here. So I guess we're about to look at, remember in the original Knave, your spell books took up slots. It was called, it was only one spell per spell book. It was only one spell per spell book. And so you had to use your slots, and that was use your slots to hold a bunch of different spells. Now anybody could cast spells, but I think that was its way of saying, well, why doesn't the wizard wear a whole bunch of armor? It's because the wizard has got to use a bunch of slots to carry around a bunch of spell books. So let's see how this goes. Right, this is the problem with just real randomness here. If my group found a lonely gate in the middle of the desert, they would spend the whole session trying to figure that thing out. That's a big disadvantage to complete random rolls. Right. Patrons. Patrons are powerful magical beings, often incorporeal, who grant some of their power to the PCs through the use of relics. They might be petty gods, saints, nature spirits, outsiders, etc. GMs should treat patrons like NPCs, giving them goals, enemies, personalities, and so on. Each patron has one or two domains that is most concerned with, either positively or negatively. You can use the spell generator tables as inspiration when deciding on a patron's powers. Shrines. Patrons have shrines dotted around the landscape. PCs may freely communicate with a patron at their shrine, assuming they have the patron's favor and one of the relics. PCs may freely communicate with the patron, at the shrine, assuming they have the patron's favor and one of their relics. Relics are magical items that are bound to the service of a particular patron, usually found in dungeons or at the shrines. A relic might be a symbol of a patron, a weapon, an article of clothing, or even a piece of the patron's body like their skull or hair. A PC's item can be used to convert PC's item can also be converted into a relic through the patron's blessing. They always take up at least one item slot. They always take up at least, so if you had a relic, you got to use one item slot for it. Using relics. Relics add +5 to checks when they're used against the patron's enemies or in the service of their goals. Relics can also be used to ask for direct aid related to a patron's domain by vowing in some service in return. The GM may decide the patrons accept the PC's request, reject it, bargains with them, or that a charisma check is required to convince them. Regardless of the outcome, each relic can be used only once in this way before it must be re-blessed at the patron's shrine. So that's like, higher level magic. Vows. Common vows include sacrificing HP, slots, ability scores, money, weapons, armor, or undertake a mission for the patron. Favor. PCs that take actions contrary to a patron's goals or who do not fulfill their promises to their patron may incur disfavor. Disfavor could mean anything from a mild rebuke to the patron cutting off access until the PC is properly atoned. In extreme cases, the patron could smite the PCs personally or send their followers after them. On the other hand, the PC who takes pains to stay in the patron's favor and accomplish their goals may be rewarded with unique blessings, additional relics, or followers. So here are domains and symbols. So here's, okay, did it say each patron has 1 or 2 domains that they are concerned with? So if you need to randomly roll for domains, like the domain of rust, the domain of fish. Okay, so Rob would be very happy about that. Oh, yes, the person with the domain of fish. That's exactly what he would be into. And a fish relic. And then symbols might include, oh, a rabbit. Okay, we got rabbits here. That's good. Alchemy. Oh, look, we have rules for alchemy. I'm going to have to look back at 5 Torches Deep. It's been a long time since we've looked at 5 Torches Deep. And we didn't look at all of 5 Torches Deep. Yeah, well, that's true. Arcane casters don't use armor because they have slots to carry books. What if they have hirelings that do that? Or for the group to help him? Yeah. It seems like, in fact, it seems like that might happen quite a bit. So there is alchemy here. Like, I've long talked about how I think alchemy, it's so difficult to do in a game. I like alchemy, but it's so difficult to do in a game. Let's see what's going on here. I don't have a whole lot of hope this is going to be the ultimate alchemy system, but we will see what it says. It's interesting that it's here, though. So alchemy, harvesting a monster's body parts. Okay, so we are talking about harvesting body parts requires 10 minutes and the proper tools. The most useful organs are the ones that produce the monster's special abilities, such as a dragon's lung for fire breathing, or a dragon's scales fireproofing. Magical plants can also be harvested, though they usually grow in dangerous or lost locations. Body parts or plants harvested take up at least 1 slot due to the packaging and fluids they must be preserved in. Brewing. Like, slots are at such a premium. Brewing. Brewing a potion requires a fire, a cauldron, ingredients, and 4 hours of time. The player describes the effect and duration of the potion they are trying to make, along with the ingredients to be used, usually monster parts, but in theory, they might be used any rare substance with the right properties. If the GM approves the attempt, the PCs make an int check. The PC adds +5 to the check for each watch they spend working on the potion after the first, plus 10 maximum. So we've got 1 watch, 4 hours. If the GM approves the attempt, the PC makes an int check. +5 for each watch spent working on the potion after the first. On a success, the potion is created. The parts are lost no matter what the outcome. If the PC succeeds the check by 10 or more, they've created the recipe for the potion and no longer need to make a brewing check to make it when they are using those exact ingredients. Okay. Potion effect. Potions allow the drinker to produce a single significant magical effect. If the effect is ongoing, like invisibility, it lasts for 10 minutes. Weak ongoing effects may last an hour or even a day if it is very weak. A drop of potion gives a clue to its effects. If the players find or buy a potion, you can consider one use of the effects to the right or generate something useful using the magic tables. So potion effects. I mean, some of these... 38. Burrowing. A potion of burrowing. Okay, all of a sudden start digging. Maybe you get a burrowing speed or something like that. 38. Oh, 38 again. 31. Potion of webs. 3. Clairvoyance. Spell proof, heat proof. I want a good alchemy system. It's difficult. It's difficult because it doesn't have something to do with adventuring. It's not active. So I understand why they're different. So creating monsters. Oh, this is the last page. So creating monsters. Use the tables or the following pages to generate ideas for monsters, or just use monsters from other traditional adventure games, which are fully compatible with Knave. The examples in the following bestiary serve as a guide. Monster stats. Monsters only have a few statistics to keep track of. Armor. Like PCs, monsters have armor points ranging from 0 to 10. The target number needed to hit that monster armor class is equal to AP plus 11. Both are given for a monster in case players want to reverse the roll. level. A monster's level represents the number of d6s rolled to determine its hit points. Monster levels. Okay, so we are using d8s. Man, I'm confused here. So a monster's level represents the number of d8s rolled to determine its hit points. So we're using d6s for character hit points. We're using d8s for the monster hit points. Or you can simply multiply the level by 4 or 5. A monster's level is also the default ability score you should add to all checks it makes. So if it's a level 4 creature, it's going to be adding 4 to its checks. Some people, we talked about that at some point. Wasn't we talked about Knave? People were saying they did like the ability for some monsters. That means that a monster is going to have the exact same type of strength, charisma. So if you're trying to hit it with a certain type of spell, now we haven't really looked at spells here, but some people were like, I really like knowing that I should be able to use these types of spells on these types of monsters. I think we were talking about reflexes and saves or something like that. That don't make all of that the same for a monster, that people were saying they wanted that to be up and down, higher for some things and lower for some things. So you know what type of spell or what type of attack to apply to a monster. But here we're all making this homogeneous. If a monster seems like it would be bad at a check, use half its level or 0 instead. So there is that way to go right there. In other traditional adventuring games, a monster's level is sometimes called its hit dice. Attacks, the number and types of attacks the monster can perform in one round, along with the amount of damage each attack can deal. Movement, number of feet a monster can move in a combat round. Usually 40 feet, the same as PCs. Did we figure out why it was 40 feet in this? Because 30 feet is so common, but here we've got 40 feet. I was wondering if that was an old school thing that has been revived. Does anyone know the origin of 30? I mean, it can be 40 feet, no problem. But it just seems like 30 feet is so often used. I wonder why it's 40 feet here, unless it's intentionally trying to bring something back from older school stuff. Morale ranges from 2 to 12, with 7 being the average. The higher the rating, the less likely the monster is to flee during combat. Are we supposed to be rolling? See, this is another one of those things that is not a unified action mechanic. Morale in old school is another one of those things that's not unified. So traditionally, using morale, it's 2 to 12, 7 being average, and you're rolling 2d6 trying to roll equal to or lower, which does not go along. It's an arbitrary mechanic that doesn't go along with a standard check. Because if you wanted to unify this, you would say that all monsters have a particular, like all morale is tested at 15. That might be a way to go, or 16 in this case. The default morale check is always 16, and then monsters have a morale modifier, and you roll a d20. But here, in keeping, I guess, with the old school stuff, morale has a separate way to adjudicate it. Number appearing. How many of these monsters are encountered together when this is not specified by the GM or the adventurer? The first number is for dungeons. The second number is for the wilderness. Joseph says to obtain something of equal value must be lost. That's Alchemy's first law of equivalent exchange. Yes, very classic with the D8s here. Oh, speaking of Alchemy, I still need to play Dragonlord. I haven't played a video game because I've had other things to do in a long time. And now I'd much rather play like the dinner and a board game on Friday nights now that I have that all set up. But I still want to play Dragonlord, that ancient game where you're an alchemist, which is what made me really like Alchemy to begin with. So then a small bestiary here. Bandit, skeleton, orc. Orc is AP 2, AC 13. So that's armor points 2, AC 13. Level 1. Hit points 4. Attack 1. Damage by weapon. Move 40. Morale, I guess that's 6. Number appearing, 2d4 or 60-10, takes -5 in full sun. A skeleton is AP 1, AC 12, level 1, HP 4, attack 1, damage by weapon, move 20 feet, morale 12, number appearing 3d4 or 3d10 in the wilderness. Or wait, which one was first? Second is for the wilderness. So dungeon has less. Silent, immune to biology or mental effects. Well, we never found a weapons and armor table. So actually, that's also a negative in that I don't really feel like I was able to even completely create a character here in order to play. Why do I have 20 arrows? Like, is that regardless of whether or not I have something to shoot with? So I don't really feel like this is enough to really play or, give it a test out even. So, I mean, obviously we could go over to some other game and grab weapon and armor statistics, but I'm kind of interested to know what it's saying here, especially like, so, okay, pick some armor that you want and pick some weapons that you want. In the original Knave, you chose your weapon, which I'm actually fine with. Because like we actually talked about when we were talking about Knave, what's the least number of choices that you can make for a character that still makes it interesting? Because we always just our general philosophy of what's the least we can do. Because we can always think of, hey, what's the most number of choices you can possibly make about your character in order to have a good character? But like if you're just rolling things and you're rolling things randomly, but you get a certain number of choices, what's the least number of choices? Like, could you do it with 3 interesting choices? And in a game like this, weapon choice might be one. So you chose your weapon. So that kind of gives you the style of play that you want to have. But then you rolled randomly to see what type of armor that you got. Okay, I'll take that. But it didn't let you have the most advanced types of armor. Right? So you could only randomly roll some kind of collection of the lower types of armor, which I mean, I think it was fine. But here it tells us that you get any weapon. Okay, like I'm potentially fine with that. Like, where's the weapon table? I can take any weapon. Now, I'm assuming that's not like magic weapons or something like that. But if you want to be the halberd guy, or you want to be the bow guy, or you want to be the arming sword guy, pick your weapon. All right, I'm fine with that. Or you want to be the long bow guy or the short bow guy. Okay, fine, pick it. But it says you begin with any armor pieces, plural. Any armor pieces, plural. So it seems like that in order to play this, I need some information there, because it doesn't say any of the it doesn't say any of the starting armor. See table 1, full armor list someplace in the back or something, or any from the starting weapons, full weapon list in the back. I'm not as concerned about that one, but it says any armor pieces. So does that mean that you can now start in full plate? Any armor pieces, plural. It seems like that should say any armor from the starting armor combinations, and here it is. So I feel like I need those, especially since I'm so concerned about my slots. So it seems like probably the weapons can take up 1 slot, but it might take up more. And then how many slots does armor take up? Because that was a lot. That was a lot. Hang on. Let me make a quick check. Let's see. Yeah, okay, because that's exactly zero theory, exactly what you're talking about. Let me see if I can find that. Let me see if I can find where is my original Knave? Oh, Knave 1.0. Wait, what? For some reason, it's not letting me open the PDF. Wait, hang on. Well, maybe I can maybe I can open it in a different. Okay, I guess I'm having to download it. That's bizarre. I guess it's in. I wonder why it's. Oh, maybe it's in. Maybe it's in my Dropbox or something. I don't know. Oh! It's because I had to pause my Dropbox sync, and it's in Dropbox. It shouldn't be in Dropbox. But at any rate, okay. So never mind. Forget that. But yes, exactly. Yes. So no. Well, 1 armor. So that could be. That could be. Oh, James, you know Dragonlord? I've got to find a way to play that game. I never beat it, but yeah, I've got to play that game sometime, because that game is, I mean, you play an alchemist who is raising dragons in that game, and it is an old computer game. But man, my brother and I played it all the time, because there were these big posters of how all of your alchemical ingredients mixed together. And does anybody else remember this? And you'd go into your alchemical laboratory, and you'd put all the different ingredients together, and you could chop it, and it mattered whether you chopped them or whether you cut them or whether you ground them, or and what level of heat you applied to it, and whether you had your condenser on. It was clunky because it was an old game, but it was so good. So Trey says, I'm a huge fan of Questing Beast, but I'm not seeing anything that would make me run Knave versus Into the Odd or Cairn. I wasn't as big a fan of Cairn as I wanted to be. But I think Into the Odd does this style a bit better. Like, to me, actually, right now, see, the original Knave, I feel like I could clean up the original Knave and have it be more what it was trying to do. This kind of seems like a little bit of an adjustment, which is fine. It's a second edition, so whatever you're trying to do with it is fine. But I feel like we could have cleaned up the original Knave and expanded that, and fixed some of its problems without going here. But this actually reminds me more. Do you think this is more Cairn-like, or do you actually think this is more like Shadow Dark-like, this second edition? I don't know. I think I was expecting something different here. So Zero Theory says, is one armor piece like per item slot? Yeah, I don't know. Any armor pieces? Now that could be that an armor piece, like if you want full plate, you've got to assemble it out of a bunch of different pieces that you could wear separately. Now, that's one way that you could do it. But we don't know because we don't have the information here. But yeah, a full plate would be like a bunch of different slots. Let me see if I can. I've had a bunch of computer issues going on. Okay, here it is. So it's because it was in Dropbox. So let me re-pause syncing so that it doesn't kill my internet over here. That's what's going on. So yeah, with the original remove, that is awesome. You remember Dragon Lord. We got to play that. Stop screen sharing, present, share screen, Knave 1.0. So yeah, see here, and see this game did actually be like, okay, now maybe for Faded Edge I should try. I ran into problems when I was working on the Faded Edge game. If you're kind of new here, we were working on creating an RPG called Faded Edge, but there's been a lot of things going on over here, so that one kind of got paused. And I was realizing that maybe I'm running. I was trying to make it in just a 48-page booklet, and I was like, oh my god, maybe I need more room. But actually, it made this kind of Knave in its 7 pages made me wonder what I could make in a shorter amount of time. Because actually, this game, it's only 7 pages, but it does spend a lot of time on the traits, rolling for traits, and right here it spends a lot of time in tables and not as much on rules. So there isn't actually that many rules here. But yeah, something like see, the shield is defense +1, 1 slot, 1 quality. Helmet, defense +1, 1 slot, 1 quality. And by the way, so quality, the rules with quality, and we were wondering about that, critical hits and quality. During an attack roll, if the attacker rolls a natural 20 or the defender rolls a natural 1, the defender's armor loses 1 point of quality and they take an additional die of damage of the weapon type. If the attacker rolls a natural 1 and the defender rolls a natural 20, the attacker's weapon loses 1 point of quality. At 0 quality, the item is destroyed. Each point of quality costs 10% of the item's cost to repair. So this is this designer's note. The slow degradation of their armor is another resource clock ticking down against the long dungeon raids outside of hit point spells, torches, and so on. So if you are attacked and the attacker rolls a natural 20 or the defender rolls a natural 1, the defender's armor loses 1 point of quality. So, and that's going to happen 5% of the time. So we were actually talking about, I remember that now, it was another thing that we had to use our slots for, because we were like, well, gee, our weapons are going to become damaged, and we got to make sure that we have a secondary weapon on us. So if the attacker rolls a critical hit, we could lose a shield, we could lose a helmet. The Gambison is 1 slot, defense 12, 3 quality. Brigandine, defense 13, 2 slots, So yeah, see, Brigandine takes up 2 slots and is 4 quality. Chain is 3 slots. Half plate is 4 slots. Full plate armor, according to the original Knave, took up 5 slots. It gives you a defense of 16 and has 7 quality. So full plate can also take a lot of damage. But over here, weapons, for instance, if you're using a spear, sword, mace, axe, or flail, they do D8 damage. But see, those weapons take up 2 slots. 1 hand and 3 quantity. Now, that may change in 2, because it seems like if you carry it in 1 hand, maybe they just say spear. Well, spear maybe should stay, I don't know. But sword, axe, mace, something like that, maybe that just becomes 1 slot. But if you're wearing, according to this, if you're wearing a gambeson and have a shield and are using a mace, that's 4 more slots right there. That's 4 more slots. Yeah, so item quality is another thing to be tracked here. Joseph says, I think looking closely at this document is showing strongly that this isn't finished. That is kind of how it feels to me. Oh, you remember this too? Okay. One time, maybe when I'm not doing a good night, I've got to find a good way to play it, because I got to find an emulator and stuff. Being brief actually takes more time. It can, yeah. If you're talking about the amount of time to put something out, but I mean, yeah, that's true. Joseph says backers are putting a fair amount of faith in Ben based on what we're seeing here, and I'm again a premium all-in backer, so yeah. So I'm right now just in for the hardcover book, and of course I backed it. I obviously the original Knave here has got a huge following. I mean, it must, because like we said, over how many thousands of people have already backed Knave 2? I backed Knave 2 based primarily on what I had seen about Knave 1, because I liked what it was doing. I thought it needed to be cleaned up, but we will see. So, but we will see. I mean, some type of potion, yeah. All right. Well, is there anything else that needs to be said? Yeah, I guess I'm a little bit underwhelmed. I was really excited about this. That's why I was like, I wanted to be sure that I went over this in a time when a morning when I had enough time to do it. So that happened to be this morning. So, I wanted to at least be able to finish my character. So we'll see. You'll see. It's interesting. So Shadow Dark clearly had a lot more. I think a lot more in its preview. We understood a lot more about Shadow Dark in its preview than we understood about this. But it's clearly working for him. It's working for him. Yeah, it's one of those things that. I mean, I guess a lot of people got Knave. So this Kickstarter is clearly working. Hopefully, people will like what they get at the end of the Kickstarter, because yeah, a lot of faith is being put in it. Hopefully, that a lot of people will be getting this. Hopefully they will enjoy it, and then that will propel him to further success going on down the road. Because hopefully it's greatly improved by the time that it actually comes out. I think it's actually it's supposed to. Oh, like I've still got this page up. When is it supposed to be delivered? Now, not that matters a whole lot on Kickstarter, and of course I'm very flexible with the delivery of Kickstarter goods, especially on the creative side of things like this. So I pledged for just the physical copy here. So estimated delivery December of 2023. Well, that's comparatively soon, because I think he's trying to do offset printing. By the time you're printing thousands of books, it makes more sense to do offset printing. That does take more time. So, but if you're going to do offset printing, you're going to ship that, and you're actually planning on getting this out by December 2023 in people's hands. Planning, like I said, there wouldn't be a whole lot of time to keep writing stuff. I don't know. I guess we'll see. See, Joseph says Shadow Dark was done the day the KS went up, though it's even getting some typo fixes now. See, that's the way I think. I have long been an advocate. When we were running Kickstarters with Infinite Black, and when I was running them with my brother and games and stuff like that, the rule, I was saying that the rule needed to be that everything on the Kickstarter page needs to be 95% done before the Kickstarter runs. Like, you need to be 95% done with this. That makes stretch goals hard, because if you're saying, oh, if we get to this amount of money, then we'll add in these stretch goals. Do you have to make that stretch goal, right? Or, is that stretch goal already made and ready to go, or is it something you still have to finish? As the Infinite Black Kickstarter, because I like I said, my personal preference is to not have the Kickstarter last any longer than it has to. So if your stuff is already done, and then 95% of the way done, maybe there's a little bit that's got to be changed up based on something that you unlocked, or this needs to change, or something based on the game. It can't be major stretch goals. That's when that actually causes the Kickstarter campaign to really slow down. Because if you say, hey, if I raise this amount of money, then I will add in X, and you haven't made X, you're gonna have to spend time after the Kickstarter campaign making X and approving it with a manufacturer if it's something that's going to be approved, if it's going to be manufactured and so forth. That really adds a lot of time. So that's why I am, and as the Elder Dice campaigns got more complicated, there was more that had to be done on the backside of the Kickstarter campaigns, which slows them down. And I don't like that. That's why with the Goodnight Sword campaign, Goodnight Sword is completely ready. Goodnight, we're not doing stretch goals. We're going simple. We're going easy. Goodnight Sword is 100% ready. You saw the proof of the book. I can send out the digital copies now. I can, and even order those. So the idea, it's stretch goals are a mess. We should talk about this. In general, I'm not a huge fan of stretch goals. That's a good point. PH tells me to make a note. Where's my list? We'll do that before I go. I got my long list of stuff over here to continue to look at on the morning grind. So Knave 2 can be struck off, and then DC 20. DC 20. All right, DC 20 goes on the list. So I didn't actually remove anything from my list. Scratched one off the list and then added another one to it. So I will check that out and see if it's something we should take a look at on the morning grind. Well, thank you so much for hanging with me. I wish we had kind of better feeling about this, but all right. So we've got that. It's interesting. So I guess we'll all get it, and we will see. We'll take a look at it again when we get the final books. All right, everybody, be creative, be productive, and I will see you in the morning. Grind on.